Hello, dear hearts. Welcome to the online global conference, Dreaming the New Earth, Co-Creating the Sovereign, Resilient Humanity of the Future, where we are gathering with visionaries, wisdom keepers, and practitioners from around the world and from a variety of fields of expertise who are in service to the global awakening of consciousness and to supporting people and our planet during these times of great change. During this time together, we will tune into the potent wisdom and experiences they will be offering, which will serve as guidance for us to ground our personal and our collective vision of the new earth. We will learn about the significance of these times of prophecy that we're in, come to feel a deeper sense of community, belonging, and interconnection with all our relations, as well as learn how we can trust our own inner wisdom and gain insight into how to heal that which may be holding us back from walking our true path, individually and as a collective, a path that supports and protects the continuance of life. I'm your host and creator of this event, Clara Nisiri, and today I'm very excited to present Jeanne White Eagle Person. Welcome, Jeanne. It's an honor to have you here.
It is a joy to be here with you, Clara.
Jeanne White Eagle Person is a visionary, educator, author, and speaker. She is co-founder and president of the Interstellar Community Foundation, established for the purpose of manifesting interstellar universities and communities around the world, as seen in vision by Jeanne, of a system to maximize and sustain the highest human potential and the eventual overt interaction with extraterrestrials and non-human intelligence. To quote astronaut Edgar Mitchell, Jeanne's vision is a how-to blueprint to put us on the track toward achieving a higher stage of consciousness and evolution, ensuring the continued existence of life on Earth. Jeanne is author and co-author of books dealing with human relations and the future of humanity and life on Earth. Using their combined skills in deep conflict resolution, Jeanne and her husband John Person have often found themselves in war zones and other areas of severe conflict, focusing on creating a global environment where all life is honored and nurtured. She is member of the Evolutionary Leaders organization founded by futurist Barbara Marx Hubbard, whose intent is to expand and raise the level of human consciousness on our planet. Jeanne's background also includes her many years of working with children and teens at risk, and is the visionary for the global ceremonial dance For the One, the purpose of which is to help remove walls of separation and promote global healing. She's an accomplished composer and musician with a degree in the performing arts and master's study in education. Amazing. So the topic for this session is Interstellar University Vision, a blueprint for a new world. Jeanne, again, such a pleasure to have you here. I'm really excited to be speaking with you today and for you to share your work with the audience. I think I mentioned in one of my emails, I'm about to finish reading your book, Eyes Open, Looking for the 12, for the third time. Your dream, the vision you received, and just the magnitude of what is unfolding from that is such an inspiration. And I think an amazing example of what is possible when we pay attention to our dreams and visions. So please share with us about the Interstellar University Vision. What is it? How did it all start? And why the Interstellar University? What is its purpose?
Well, I'll see if I can say this in 25,000 words or less. But let me say, first of all, it is an honor to be here. I'm very humbled that I was asked, and I'm very happy to share what I can. And I suppose the best place to start is at the beginning, which I do describe in my book, my Eyes Open book. It was in my teen years that I began to have a dream. I did not know at the time that it was going to turn into a recurring dream. It was a dream that came back again and again. It would come and then it would be gone for several months, then it would come back again. And this went on starting around the age of 16 in that area, and went on until my late 30s. It was after that I began to raise my family and focused on that and actually forgot about the dream until it came back again in 2009. And this time when it came back with a good bit of instruction and details. The dream itself, particularly for those first decades, consisted of two scenes. One was of my standing at the foot of a small mountain or a high hill, and a particular configuration of buildings that I was seeing. Second scene was suddenly I was inside what looked like what you might think of as a hallway inside a university or school, because people were passing by each other as though they're on their way to class, whatever that looked like. And what I then noticed instantly was that these people were not all human. There were many different species that were interacting. And I said to somebody just recently, and a little bit, if any of you have seen the movie Star Wars, it felt, or even Star Trek, felt a little bit like a scene out of that, because I was seeing all these many different species. And those were the two scenes of the buildings on the hill and then being in this hallway. And I didn't know what I was seeing. So I had no context. There was nothing I could put to it. And when it came back in 2009, I actually heard the words, "You're to build a university." Well, let me say very quickly that it was not a university that the kind that we would think of on our planet right now. It was the only thing in my own personal lexicon that represented a higher educational structure. And then I realized what I was beginning to see and what I was shown is this is not what we think of as a traditional educational system. In fact, the information that began to come through is that the educational systems that we know of now would begin to fall by the wayside. What I was seeing was what will happen when a human is born, right straight on through the entire lifetime of that human, on through the time that person moves out of the physical body. It's during those stages, birth on through what I call the second birth, the next birth, that what I was shown in calling a university at the time was meant to create whatever environment was necessary to help a child, a person, tap into the dreams that he or she came onto this planet with, and then create whatever's necessary to help that person fulfill those dreams. Because each of us has what you might say is like a cosmic puzzle. If each of us were given that opportunity, then we would begin to realize that there is no separation. We would begin to see the whole picture. What has occurred, which I'm deeply grateful for, is with all the work that John and I did before, met many people from around the world who now feel like that they are very much a part of helping to manifest this vision. So they are representing what I would call the new community, the new stage of moving on into the new stage of evolution for humans. These are people who are working on their lives, clearing, in Native American terms, we will say clearing the hollow bone. But they daily are clearing themselves of angers, frustrations, anything that goes in there, and what we would think of as clearing that sacred space anything that's clogging it. And so their focus is on helping to remove that within themselves so that they can become the best that they know that they can be. So what's important about this is they are creating the foundation upon which the energy and the psyche of the universe vision itself is being built. The other piece that's very important about this is this vision is not just about humans. It is about, again, creating that environment that can then receive those other beings coming in from other systems, whether they're extraterrestrial, whether they're ultra-terrestrial coming in from interdimensional spaces. It is setting up an environment so that then interaction can go on in an overt and in a healthy way for generations to come. But first, Clara, we need to get to a place to where humans themselves are willing to let go of the dramas that have been created for centuries and centuries and centuries. And Sixto Paz Wells, that many of you who may be watching this interview, who's one of the better respected and more credible individuals who has been interacting with other beings for several decades now, he said that what I had seen was liberation of the human mind. And so we have quite a large number of people from many different countries now beginning to create and be part of the different aspects of what is necessary to get this moving. And whether we continue to call it a university, I don't know. That's just what we're calling it right now. So did I do that in 25,000 words or less?
More or less. Great. And I understand that the information that came to you came over stages, is that right? It came through dreams, but also visions and what you call transmissions. Can you give us some examples of
Yeah. Yes, I can. The transmissions, I call them that in the book. The transmissions started coming almost like a waterfall coming in. That didn't happen until after I was given some of the other pieces in 2009. And you got to keep in mind what I'm 79 Earth years right now, and growing newer every day. And so in 2009, with the dream having kind of disappeared at the end of my 30s, and I didn't think anything more about it. It wasn't until in 2009, when I'm in my 60s, that it came back. And yeah, rather powerfully. And that's when I got in touch with Edgar Mitchell. And I described to him what I had seen. And his words to me were, let's give it a go. So it was, and he very wonderfully stepped into this with my husband and me. And we put together the foundation now that is focused on bringing the vision into full being. Yeah. So, did I answer your question? Was there more?
I think you did, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
When did you become aware, when did you first become aware that you were being drawn into the global arena, playing a huge part in helping the world to shift and change as we are now?
That's been going on for most of my life. I can remember, I shared this recently with someone. I can remember when I was about 5 or 6 years old and going out and laying down on the ground at night and looking up at the stars and somehow knowing that I had something to do with this particular little sphere that was floating through space. I didn't comprehend it all, not in an intellectual way, but intuitively I knew then. And I was so fortunate to have parents that empowered me at every step. They constantly were saying, nothing is impossible. If you have a dream, follow it. They did everything to help create what was necessary for me to begin to fully realize, who I am and who I'm becoming. I can say that it was in my late teens when my brother, who was at Memphis State University at the time, sent me a message, and he said, "Jeanne, I've just seen something that I think you've been waiting for all your life." And it was a show, a stage show of Up With People, who was called Sing Out at the time. But it was an international musical that was, all the music was created by those within the cast. Its purpose was to bring cultures together, to help cultures realize we can live together, we can empower each other. And so I became part of one of the original cast, Up With People, and I was with him for quite a number of years. And we traveled around the world. We met dignitaries from all over the world, but I think the level that I was really inspired by was at that grassroots level, which is what John and I then started to do once we came together, is doing the conflict resolution work that we've done all over the world. Yeah, I've done this pretty much all my life. I've had a sense that somehow I was supposed to play in this arena, and I think the thing I had to do was get out of my own way, because I'm not very shy. I am very, very willing to jump off a cliff and think about it on my way down, and pray on the way down that I have wings. So I've had to learn how to walk a path of humility. I've had to learn how to move beyond the ego and begin to see the absolute beauty that is within every one of us, and then begin to see there is no separation. We all are a part of each other. And the truth is that there's nothing else but love. It is getting to that place to where we're aware of that, no matter who we are, no matter what we've done.
You spoke of pieces of a puzzle earlier. I'm curious to know, part of the intention of your book was to find the 12. It's in the title, Looking for the 12. In other words, other dreamers that have pieces of that puzzle, that have been having the same dream or a part of that dream. So I'm curious, have there been other dreamers coming forward, making contact and saying, yes, I'm having the same dream?
Yes, there have been a number of them, and I began to get it at the beginning that the 12 may actually be more of a metaphor than actual 12, because I'm wondering, have there been 12,000, 12 million? Because we are all connected at the most extraordinary levels. But I remember, I remember this one gentleman coming up to me in Israel when we had done a workshop there. He was an artist, and he had with him his notebook, and he said, "I want to show you something." So he opened up his notebook, and where he had several painted sketches that were almost identical to the ones that I had seen. And I was so thrilled to have found him. And we still are in touch. There's still more work that we have to do. But he's just one example. We've got a number of people, got another, a young woman who lives, well, it's gone right out of my head, but it's an island that's close to Africa. She also has seen something very similar to what I've seen, and she's very much in the global arena. Analos Schmitzman, for anyone that may not know who she is, look her up. But there are a number now that are beginning to come forward that know that they've seen either pretty close to what I've seen or some piece of it. And what is important to know here is this isn't, even though there's, how I often say, there's only one of us here, this is not about any one person that has seen this. There are many of us that have seen pieces that if you bring this together, we begin to see this extraordinary creation starting to be manifested here. So and I think I safely can say we, the community that are involved with these community people from all over the world are staying very alert, very aware, and so that anyone who feels like they're part of helping to bring this physically into being, yes, but bringing it into the consciousness in a rather miraculous way. We're looking for them. We want them. There is a place, there is a way that they can play with us. And let me say this because I'm anticipating a question that you may ask, having to do with the physical. What I've known all along is that the mass consciousness, the collective consciousness needed to get to a certain level of maturity before what I've seen can be built and succeed, can be sustained. I think if we built it today, physically today, it's possible that it might continue. But my guess is that it probably would have it would be short-lived, because we're still working with and creating the frequency that is necessary to be able to hold something like this with such a high intention. Yeah, and so all the transmissions that are in the book, they didn't come until the dream had come back. And I have transmission journals where I continue to bring in what is coming forth. But there's another kind of exciting piece here, if you want me to share it now, or I can wait.
Sure, please share.
Yeah, Paul Hellyer, who was the past former defense minister for Canada, when he learned of what I had seen, he called it hope, that it represented hope for humanity. And he came on to our advisory board, and it was Paul who actually said, you may want to create what is necessary to help you be in communication with those beings coming from other systems who are part of manifesting this vision. So we've actually created, we have a team, it's called the ABC team, the Advanced Beings Communications team, where we meet once a month, and whoever wants to come in on those calls may do so. And we sing particular frequencies that open up the doorway so that communication can take place. We had an extraordinary artist. Her name is Leanne Heltzel. You can look her up on Google as well, who had the vision that she and I were to get together, and I was to sing, and she would paint what I was singing because I was creating in the moment. So she came down for 3 days. For 3 days, I'm singing, and 49 spontaneous songs came out, and as I'm singing, she's painting. What we've discovered is that when you sing and you focus on the painting, what the frequency does is it opens up, it literally is like opening up a portal, a vibrational portal. And then information begins to come in, and the people that have done this with us, they begin to get insights, practical and inspirational. So we're keeping a record now of all the information that is coming in when we do these team meetings, I'll call them. Yeah, but that's a wonderful piece of helping to bring this vision into being. And there's more. I can share more when you're ready.
Amazing, amazing information. So you are definitely an example of somebody that has come and followed their dream and their dreams in this lifetime. So could you speak a little to that? Is it important for us to follow our dreams?
It's crucial. It's absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
Here's what I've learned is that if you have the courage and you're willing to follow the dream, even when you get knocked down, get back up. Edgar said to me once, Edgar Mitchell, he said, because it was at a time when I got really frustrated. And he said, keep putting one foot in front of the other. He said, do not give up. And so that's what I've done. And in doing that, I've been able to move through whatever the quagmire of circumstances were. And coming out on the other side of that, I'm beginning to see, that, there's no real stopping this now. And a long time ago, I had somebody ask me, when are you going to get a real job? And that gave me so much.
Surely cannot be more real than that.
Yeah. It's so if a person watching this doesn't walk away with anything else, that's the piece I would say. Follow your dream. There's a reason why you had that dream. This is much bigger than you. This involves all of us. So follow the dream and ask the universe for a sign. I ask for signs all the time, and I'm given them all the time. It can come through a bird showing up on the windshield, which has happened a few times. It can happen if you're passing by, this has happened a few times, passing by a billboard on the side of the road. You ask for a sign, and there's a literal sign that will give you information that is directly associated with whatever it is that you're asking. But yeah, ask the universe for help. Don't give up. And at the moment that you begin to get frustrated, keep breathing, get up, move, go hug a tree, put your feet in water, do whatever will help move you out of that stuck place. But yeah, there's a reason you were given your dream. So if you don't walk away with anything else, I say today, follow your dream. Yeah.
Beautiful. There's a beautiful quote in the book that says, opening the heart is the fulcrum point of my recurring dream. In other words, it is the direction in which the university must go to fulfill its purpose. You put a lot of emphasis on love and opening the heart. Could you share a little more with us about that? Why is
Go ahead.
Why is it so important?
Yeah. Because what humans will begin to remember if they have forgotten is where we're going is love. In fact, love, no matter what language it is in, carries the highest frequency that we can possibly imagine. That it is when we begin to get caught in the scenarios of whatever our personal dramas may be, then we begin to forget this isn't complicated. It's not. It's about love. And I've worked with a number of abused children. I've worked with abused spouses. This is not about accepting the abuse. Rather, it is about transmuting the energy and continuing to love the person, even though that person may be coming at you. Move out of the way. Just move out of the way of the firing line and let it go past you, while all the same time you are feeding love into that person. Remember, again, whatever you're seeing out of your eyes is your perception of reality. And I mentioned Joseph Ryle, who is a very extraordinary mentor and dear friend, who said at one point, we have close to 8 billion people on this planet. That's how many perceptions, different perceptions of reality we have on this planet. But think, if everybody saw through the eyes of love, then it would shift the vibrational field of the collective reality. And I had this, I opened it up just before we talked. Here's a picture for anybody who wants to see it. There's a picture of the book. But it's a quote from the Hathor material, Tom Kenyon's The Hathor material. Says, in terms of human evolution, love is where you're heading. So, yeah, if you can always tell, a person can tell if they are moving off track, it is because you will run into barriers that begin to bring forward anger. It doesn't mean you can't get angry, but there are different kinds of anger. But if you're experiencing something that is bringing out, has any seed in it that even touches into the vibration of hate, the vibration of prejudice, any of these, what we would call negative descriptions, then you might want to step back and say, hey, maybe there's something that I can do here that's different that will change the reality. So I'll often say, put your love glasses on, and what do you see then? Yeah. I have a great story that I can tell you about my 13-year-old son, who has turned into one of the most extraordinary adults I have ever known. But at the age of 13, he was being, I guess you could call it a typical 13-year-old, I don't know. But he came in one morning with a coat on, very similar to the kind that Neo wore in The Matrix, if anybody saw that. It was full length. He had gone and painted skeletons and drops of blood on it with fingernail polish, and had created chains on it with big safety pins. Anyway, you get the picture. He came in one morning. I had no idea that he created this. He came in one morning with this thing on. I said, hello. He said, oh, where are you going? And because he was getting ready to go out the door, he says, I'm going to school. And I said, not with that on. And so we had a few words of discourse. And I made him take it off. I took the coat and I hid it in a hiding place in our house. And I called a very dear friend of ours who was a transpersonal psychologist. And I said, I'm a little bit concerned here. What should I do? And I'm in my 30s at the time, right? My late 30s. And he said, see through the eyes of love. Because he said, what's happening for you is you're afraid. And he was right. Because I realized my body temperature raised when I saw this coat. And he said, see through the eyes of love and see if anything changes. So my son comes home from school, and the first thing out of his mouth is, where's my coat? And I said, I said, you're not going to get the coat back. And he got really angry. And I could feel that I too was getting angry. But I also knew that what was happening with me is I was getting afraid. So I remembered what my friend said, and I imagined love moving out of my eyes and forming this light. And I just saw the word love. And I just kept doing it, even though the words were coming out of my mouth. And my son did something that surprised the fool out of me. He stopped and he went over and he sat down at the kitchen table. And he said, Mom, I guess it's time that I listen to what you have to say. And, you hear people say you get weak in the knees. I literally got weak in the knees. And I started shaking and I sat down. And then we had one of the deepest conversations we had ever had at that time. And I tell you this story because this is powerful stuff. Love itself is a powerful frequency. Just don't be afraid to see through those eyes and notice what changes for you. Think of a world that we would have if it began to do that.
What a great story. Thank you. You've guided people in spontaneous singing. What is spontaneous singing and how can it help us raise the frequency of mass consciousness? It's for that. I think you've mentioned it in this our conversation briefly already. Please share a bit more.
Well, first of all, I've been singing all of my life. I'm actually trained for the stage as a professional classical singer. But this moves beyond that. It was when my husband and I got with Joseph Ryle that we began to learn, but also remember information around working with sounds, with the directions, the sound of ah, eh, e, o, u, which are fundamental vibrational sounds of all languages that are and those that have existed. They are also the sounds of the primary directions, the east, the south, the north, the west, the north, and the center. Well, it was during this time of working with Joseph that I did a vision quest. In the vision quest, what began to come was something that I could not have anticipated. I began to hear sounds moving through me that were beyond what I had learned. It was because of what I had learned that I was able to see and recognize what was happening. I was shown that if you do not think and you're willing to open up your heart and open up your mind and heart and your voice, your mouth, and let the sounds begin to come, if the intention is that of love, then what begins to happen is something rather extraordinary. John and I have done concerts all over the world. We've had people doing this with us all over the world. But what I think what is an easy description is, first, you yourself are a song. The Aborigine used to say to us, you're singing yourselves into existence. So each of us, even if we think we're not singing, we're already singing. The perception that we exist in this form is a song. The perception of anything that fits into our individual realities is a song. It is the form of whether it's a candle or a book or a glass or a speck of dust. It is a song singing itself into existence. I love the poetry around that. Well, I've had cancer twice, and both times it was the sounds that I would use to go in, not manipulating, not controlling, but allowing what was moving through me to move into all of my cells and begin to help my body heal. If you look at that from a broader perspective, there is a way to hear the sound of what the planet is, who the planet is. Hear her song, hear the song of the trees. Then you've got those like the war that's going on in Ukraine right now. You can hear the sound of the song itself. There's a song of war. There's no matter what you perceive, it is a song. It is sound. It is frequency. And if it is moving at a level that, like with the cancer, that is, again, this is a little bit of a poetic way to say this, I guess, that is causing the consciousness to forget that all there really is love. Then what you do is you begin to sing. You begin to bring in and create a song that comes in from that higher state. And that is what begins to help the larger consciousness begin to remember all there really is love. I'm getting ready to do a sound course, as a matter of fact, which is part of the Interstellar University syllabus. I'm getting ready to do a sound course starting this coming Sunday. Anybody that's interested, send me an email and I'll send you information on it.
That's amazing. I was about to ask, this is the kind of thing that is going to be taught in the Interstellar University, right? Sound.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful.
Anything that helps to raise the level of consciousness that's where we're going. That's what we want to bring into the environment of the universities themselves. Yeah. So you want to sing? Want to do a song? Is it time?
I'd love to hear you sing.
Well, what I'll do is I'll give you an example of just creating. Again, I think the first thing I would say is don't think. Because if you think, then the ego mind gets involved and then you begin to maybe even try to create either words or you're creating judgment on yourself. So you don't think, you just let it come. And as it's coming, what is happening is as you are opening up to the larger consciousness, you're opening up to the larger universe. And then you begin to experience no separation. And if anything is out of balance, it begins to go into balance. It's very, very powerful stuff. And it's fun. It's fun. I'll go out. Go out every morning and I sing. And I'll sing throughout the day. But I love it when the birds come, the birds and the wind. So, anybody watching this, try it and just see what happens. But let me put there the musicians, the microphone on. So I'm going to create a song that's never been sung before. It will not have words. It will carry within it the frequency that is tapping into the vibrational field of everyone who is participating here. So I give this to you as a gift. It will be very simple and it'll be very short. But I give this to you as a gift. Oh, yeah, oh, Mutahna echitip ayane with the people. I encourage everyone to do that at least once a day. Okay, I don't know if that recorded. I hope it did. Sometimes they don't. It depends on the frequency.
I could hear you loud and clear, so I'm sure it's in the recording.
Great.
Thank you.
So I would say to anyone also who may be watching this, replay that part and create your own song with me, not singing what I sing, but sing your own song with me and then notice what happens. Powerful things begin to happen here. Extraordinary healings begin to happen. But yeah, I write about this at length in the book as well. And if anyone wants to know more, simply email me. Yeah.
Wonderful, Jeanne. To wrap up our conversation, some last words from you, Jeanne. What is your personal prayer for the new earth?
Love each other. That's the key. Keep putting one step in front of the other. Breathing, hold each other's hands, and begin to embrace our planet. Remember who you are. You are a sacred being. You have purpose. You have dreams. Follow your dreams. These are the keys. And love is the final key that will bring the earth that we know can be into being. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeanne. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Such exciting times ahead with the incredible work that you're doing. And before we go, you have a newsletter where the audience can sign up to stay informed on the progress of the Interstellar University vision. How can people sign up to that newsletter?
Go on to our website, which is www.interstellar.interstellarcommunityfoundation.org. And there's the place to sign up there.
Right, and we'll have that link below the video.
Yeah.
And visit the website for more information. For those who feel drawn to check out the book as well, the title is Eyes Open, Looking for the 12. And yeah, thank you, Jeanne.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure and an honor to have you with us today.
It's a joy to be here, and thank you for what you're doing. It's
to
important.
all those who, thank you, Jeanne. To all those who have tuned in today, deep gratitude for being here, and be blessed. Have a beautiful day.